Pep, for inviting me. Yeah, talking about optimization culture and not only getting your team involved, but getting the whole company involved in experimentation. And yeah, like Ton said, I'm from the client side. We're from a merchant, which means not from an agency. So I'm not going to come up with optimization culture framework. That's what the agencies are for. I'm here to share our experience, what worked, what didn't work, and how are we working towards a more experiment-driven organization. So I need to start with a confession. Yesterday afternoon, I was sitting here in the room, and I saw a chat pop up from our company chat, and one of our employees, she was working on a specific country, and she shared some numbers from that country. It wasn't going well, according to her. And that really, well, when I read that, I thought, well, should I really do this presentation on company culture if she's asking these kind of questions? So it was bad for my confidence to do this talk. So this is what she was saying. Yesterday it wasn't that great as we wanted in terms of volumes. That was the first alarm bell ringing. Second one, we are 20 orders behind target. Second alarm bell. And then the third one was that she started talking on about blaming conversion rate of the website for it. She's from the target team, so the traffic team, so it wasn't traffic, it was the conversion rate of the website. So that wasn't great for my confidence. I thought, oh shit, should I talk about company culture? Because I looked into the data. I thought, well, first thing I thought about, well, 20 orders behind target. I don't know what you guys are doing, but that doesn't feel like much. So I thought, let's basically simple. It was a Thursday, so let's look at all the Thursdays from last year. What's the average? What's the standard deviation? Standard deviation of the orders on any given Thursday was 47 orders, which means for us that one in every 3 days we will have a day with less than 20 orders than average, or even worse. So it's not that big of a thing. But luckily, that evening I got another email from another colleague of mine that completely restored my confidence in doing this talk. And I said, yes, we are on the right track working on company culture, but I'll show you that one later on. Because I'm still here, so I made it. So a short introduction on Euroflorist, so you know where we're coming from. 200 employees. 35 of those are working in the online department, and my team right now, 4 people permanently and 2 people, 2 interns that we have permanent spots for, but of course change every couple of months. Traditional roots of Euroflorist, Ton said our first bouquet was sold in 1995. We were one of the first 100 web shops worldwide, but the company itself started in 1947 already. It started out as a florist network. So basically, we're a huge affiliate company. In most countries, we don't have our own flowers, but we sell to local florists. We're not a startup, definitely not. But we're also not a big company like Booking that started out with an optimization culture. There was no optimization culture going on a couple of years ago. Online and offline right now. Online right now is over 60% of revenue, B2B and B2C. CRO started 24 months ago when I started working there, specifically to do this. And that was completely new there. There was no A/B testing going on, no experiments. It was apparently going pretty well for all those years. Conversion rate was still quite high, but I did realize we need to start working on this because we are spending 10 million on AdWords, and that's not a sustainable model. Yeah, like Tom mentioned, we have great conversion rates to start testing with. It was really helpful for the sample size you need with testing. Our conversion rates Well, we have 10 million people on our website in a year, and around 2 million bouquets sold. So we have quite a high conversion rate, on 20-30%, depends on the country, and that's really nice. To give you an idea on the people involved with a conversion optimization right now, of course, usability, research and design, developer, analyst, psychologist, an e-commerce manager. Every country has an e-commerce manager, and they're also involved in the whole process. Optionally, we have some other departments involved, customer service, of course, BI, the florist side, and sometimes we get external companies to help us. And the last nice thing to know about how we work, I think, is that you have your customer journey map. We are working on every step of that customer journey map. We form optimization couples. So we have one person from the business side and one person from my team, and those are responsible for optimizing that specific step. So let's do a little survey right here. Show of hands. Your company type, I'd like to know. Do you feel more comfortable about, okay, we're a startup fully focused on online? Hands? Yeah, I think 20? Or do you feel more traditional online, offline company like Euroflorist? Yeah, I think around the same number, okay. How old is your testing program? Less than 1 year. Very good, only a few. 1 to 3 years, this is Euroflorist. Yeah? Over 3 years? Yeah, very good. And if you're booking.com? Yeah, 1. Management support. This is us, luckily. Our CEO comes from online. He did some A/B testing. Let's not comment on how he did it, but he's really enthusiastic about the whole process. Who would relate with that? Oh yeah, not that money. Pep is. Good. Who feels it's more like a side project? Oh, that's also good. Not that many. Good. Last one. How many experiments did you run this year? Less than 10. Yeah? Don't be ashamed. It can be good experiments. 10 to 50? Yeah? More? Over 50? If you're booking.com? 1, 2. So this scheme came up yesterday already. Platform, people, process. Manuel even added priorities to this one. Morgan Brown yesterday spoke about building that team and process. So you had around 29 hours since his talk, so I'm assuming you have that all implemented by now. And so we can talk about, okay, what's the next step? How can we get that team involved in the whole company with experimentation? So I did some research and what are the struggles companies have without having a culture? What are the problems you have if you don't have it? And what Euroflorist had some time ago. I think about 3 things. I think this is an important one. Lack of trust in data. When there's data everywhere, but we don't know what's the truth. We don't trust it. And if people don't trust it, whatever you can come up with, the best test ever, if they don't trust it, it doesn't do anything. It undermines your authority, and they don't get started on it. Especially at Euroflorist, what we had, and still a bit, the silos, the different departments that we have, you cannot connect the dots. If we don't talk to customer service, we don't know the impact of things. If we don't know go to the florist, we don't know the problems they have and how we can improve the delivery of our products. It's really hindering the experience. And for most people, experimentation doesn't come natural, and that's a big problem. It feels really scary. We have our targets, and we are relatively confident that we can get those targets. And as a psychologist, you know, it's way more painful to lose something than to gain something. So as an employee, gaining 5%, it's okay, but much more scary to lose 5%. So let's not do too many experiments if I have a chance of losing things. That's what people feel, at least. And that doesn't feel comfortable for those. So that's why you need to have everyone involved in this to really make an impact. And what successful companies do with their optimization culture, what I gathered from some research, which means I watched a couple of YouTube videos, get everyone on board with data, get them comfortable using data, trusting that they don't have to work on it on a daily basis, but get that mindset in there and get people to trust that data. Get everyone to question everything, that's okay. Get people to ask questions about the results, but also about how you do things and how you do the process. Get people to learn things. People don't want to settle for the status quo. Get people learning, and it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. It's okay. Get people comfortable with that. Work bottom up. Luckily, we, as a Swedish company, that's more traditional for the Swedish companies in general. It's more bottom up. The CEO is one of the team members with everything we do, but also with the experiments. He's one of the people suggesting experiments, but he's not dictating anything. It's not, well, anti-hippo sounds a bit negative. We're not anti-hippo, but we do have in our experimentation tool, when we do all the experiments, we tag them with different categories. Where are the tests coming from? Where are our ideas coming from? And one of those tags is hippo. So we know what's the result of his input. It's not above average, I can tell you. Share learnings widely. It's also what successful companies do. Get everyone, teach everyone what you've learned with your testing, and not only what worked, but especially what didn't work. And also what we learned yesterday, have a clear North Star with the whole team, the whole department, and the whole company, so that you know what you're working towards. Don't have people working against each other. That's really destructive for your optimization. So what did we do at Euroflorist? Let's start with the things that didn't work. This one might be a bit harsh, but getting the older people on board and that are working in offline is really hard. And we're still struggling with that. Like I said, Euroflorist is a bit of an older company. There are people working there for over 30 years. And getting them on board with this, they're really stuck in their processes, and of most of them at least, and they don't really like experimentation or changing things. That's really hard to do, and we're still struggling with that one. What also didn't work is just give one big lecture about how experimentation works, how statistics work, and then assume everyone knows. Or they're not working on experimentation on a daily basis yet. So you need to repeat those things. Just telling it once doesn't work. We have a public form in our intranet where people can send us IDs, test IDs. This year we got 2. Just building it and having it out there doesn't do anything. We have our own internal which test won on our intranet. I think the first one, I think we got 50 people to vote on which one won, A or B, and I think last week we got 2 votes. That didn't work. So I think in general, just sending doesn't work. People don't get engaged in what you do. Things that do work, or at least a bit better, explaining everything, but over and over again. Go to those teams and talk to them personally about the impact of your experiments. Take care of your shit umbrella. And your shit umbrella, for those who don't know the term, that's basically the manager above you that takes care of your budget and can protect you from the investors or higher management, and be your shit umbrella, keep that shit away, and he knows what you're doing and how you're adding value to the company. Be really aware of who that is and take care of them. Have a transparent workflow too. That's really working for us. We have it's a SaaS platform. Everyone can use it. Everyone has access to it, and the whole experimentation process is in there, from ideation, research, the whole workflow, and all the steps in testing, and also documentation afterwards. We use effective experiments for that, and it works really, really well. Like I said, shared cross teams KPIs have that North Star. And if there's one thing you should do and forget about the rest, it's this last one. Calculate your ROI in monetary values, whether it's krona, euros, dollars. That one's really working well for us. And well, if you've been doing this for a couple of times, you know this is impossible. We cannot do this. I cannot tell you exactly this is. We did an A/B test. It's going to cost, or it's going to gain us $50,000. Cannot do it. But you can get an estimation, and if you do it over a lot of tests, then you can get to an estimation. And we did this, we didn't come up with this ourselves completely. We did this together with other teams, together with finance. Our finance controller was in there, our business analysts are in there, and together with them we created a sheet based on our budget, based on our existing targets, based on the effects we found in the experiments, and translated that with a lot of written down assumptions that we made, and translated that into monetary value. Okay, we did a test and there's 2% uplift in Sweden. No one cares. Okay, we did a test in Sweden and it's bringing us $100,000 a year. Now people are listening. That really, really works. And if you want to know how our sheet works, I tweeted about it 2 days ago, but come to me after the session and I'll show you a bit more about that if you want to know. Of course, we are still trying new things I hope that will work. We still have the issue that people see us sometimes as, okay, you guys test colors and buttons, which we actually don't do. But that's the perception some of the people have. So we want to move away from conversion optimization or A/B testing. We want to move towards ID validation. We're not about the conversion alone. It's not about conversion. It's about adding value to your customer, having those metrics in place and improving those instead of just plainly working on conversion rates or volumes or whatever. What we're also working on is an onboarding program for everyone in the company on experimentation, on exactly what we do, on training them on how experiments work, how A/B testing works, telling them stories about statistics, and getting everyone to do this, anyone that joins the company. And last one, quantifying every step in the customer journey. We have this project ongoing, Voice of the Customer. So we have our customer journey mapped, but not every step, especially in the marketing, branding, and in customer service and lifetime value. There are a lot of metrics missing there that we are putting in place right now, and that will help us to get data on that and show how we are improving or impacting those areas. Final thought, when you're starting with this, or working on this, I think the most important part is to get shit done. When I started at Euroflorist 2 years ago, well, they had Google Analytics installed, but there was no enhanced e-commerce, it wasn't perfect, there was a lot of questions about the data, but get started. Start proving the stuff that you do. Start experimenting, start showing your value. Don't wait until all the systems, all the analytics is in place perfectly. It won't happen, it's still not there. It's improving a lot, but start adding value right away and start translating that to monetary values. And it's okay, especially in the beginning, to get some people mad about what you're doing. Not everyone is going to be happy with it. That's okay. You need to be a bit comfortable with that, I think. So coming back to that email I got, or the chat I got yesterday. Yesterday evening, I got an email from one of my colleagues. What we do once in a while when we send, I send our colleagues challenges things they need to do, not necessarily directly related to something they need to deliver, but just challenging things with data. And we did. I sent out an regex challenge last week. Yeah, and which, well, it looks way more difficult than it is. But we had different platforms over the last year. So if you want to analyze a lot of last like 3 years, you have 6 platforms, different URLs, different TLDs, different languages in the URL, different the error pages. You want to exclude them. So that was the challenge, and it's not necessarily about the code, what it is, but she sent me this email yesterday. Last week I did the challenge, came up with this, but luckily she didn't stop. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I got a breakthrough. Yesterday was late in the evening. I got a breakthrough and made it much shorter, and it's working now. What do you think? And this made me think, okay, gladly there are still people, they are getting this, they're experimenting, they're trying to learn, they're trying to get better, and we are getting there. And I hope this helps you to get there with your company. Thank you very much.